Welcome to Vision Profiles, the podcast for dedicated Apple Vision Pro users. This week, it's kind of a sketchy week this week. What I'm getting is articles from last week that are layovers. Surprise, surprise, we got a new beta that came out today after having a beta last week. I think Eric has loaded his. I'm not sure he's had any chance to play with it. And Daniel's with us tonight, and we've got some articles to look at, maybe some apps or ideas to talk about that we got from Reddit and from X and other sorts of sources, but not a big story. Not a big story. How are you guys doing? Anything new in your world? You're both back from vacation, damn it.
Yeah, no, not much in particular. I mean, had some fun, at Miata's at the Gap. Didn't die. Almost happened a couple times, to be fair. But yeah, I need new tires. That's what it was. But no, otherwise doing well. Getting back into work and swing of things, and yeah, just.
Eric, anything new? You were at some kind of goatee thing yesterday.
I was at the Wisconsin State Fair. My only regret is I'd never made it to the cream puffs, and it was high on my list, but the show interfered.
Are cream puffs safe at that temperature? Because it was probably around 70 or 80 yesterday?
Well, they're refrigerated, and they come in a little suitcase.
Okay.
And you bring them back, and then seconds later, they're consumed. So, yeah, they're safe, and they're good.
I went this afternoon with my son and his wife to go see The Odyssey.
How was it?
What did you see it in the big IMAX? Apparently that's the way to see it.
Will insisted on seeing it on the big IMAX. It didn't matter to me, but we went to see it at the big IMAX. It almost felt like there were two sound systems going on, just slightly separated from each other. And I think that's supposed to give a sense of surround, but it's coming from the back of the screen, and it's also coming from the side of the speakers. And I have determined that I've seen 4 Christopher Nolan films now. And each time you see a Christopher Nolan film, you lose 20% of your hearing. So I've only got 20% left. It was way, way too loud, to the point where the chairs were shaking. And I don't think it was like one of those theaters where they, have the chairs shake deliberately. This was really loud, and my Apple Watch was going nuts. I brought loops to put in to because I knew the sound was going to be an issue. But the problem is I couldn't hear any of the dialogue with the loops in, even if I dialed them up a little bit. Then I tried I basically was playing with Apple stuff during the movie. I tried Apple Hearing Assist because I figured that might have some sound dampening. It didn't work. It really didn't handle it well for this. So I just gave up and let Christopher Nolan take the high range and the low range now out of my hearing. So the movie was visually pretty good. I'm not going to ruin it or do any spoilers for it here, but I hate it when you have hand-to-hand combat fight scenes and the image is blurry. There's no reason for it to be out of focus when they're having a battle scene. It's not like they're trying to hide fake punches or things like that. But there were points in a battle scene skirmish at the end where there were definite shots that were out of focus. And then Nolan's typical thing of having kind of bouncy cam, So you get a little bit of movement in the camera when someone's talking. And I don't know to what effect that is. But yeah. I think there are more people in our waiting room or in our chat room that are interested in state fairs right now than Christopher Nolan movies, because that's where the comments are coming. I feel like we need a Vision Profile episode of everyone in their personas. Eric's been pushing for that. I'll tell you what, Oliver, you come here and run the board while you're wearing a Vision Pro. There's a lot going on with this to be able to run it through a Vision Pro, but good idea. Eric admires it, I think, and wants to do a show in all personas, so we'll see. very little sketchy kind of news this week, but something surprised me just before I went off to go see the Odyssey. Got a notification that we got a new beta. We got beta 6 today for VisionPro. And it came a week after the last one. And I did a little digging. There is a lot of information in here, but I ran a cross check with this with notes from beta 5 and was able to pull some stuff out that it had done that's changed. This is a light update. Beta 6 is mostly a quick bug fix pass rather than a big new feature drop. We haven't seen feature drops in a while, but only a handful of changes since beta 5. Eric, do you know what size that, since you downloaded, did you see what the size of the beta was?
No.
Okay.
I think it was like
I was, yeah.
Go ahead, Daniel. You were saying.
And it's different depending on whether you're just up. Yeah. Go ahead.
We're delayed here. I think it was like 700 or 800 megs or so for me.
Oh, yeah, that's small considered to the 13 gig ones that we deal with quite often and things like that. So, yeah, so there is the show note, or there is the developer notes that you're seeing on the screen, but I will give you a little bit of rundown for it. TV app subtitles were fixed. So apparently subtitles in the TV app were problems. They weren't getting clipped when you resized tiles in the multi-view mode. Previously, you had to jump back to full screen to read them. And so that's been fixed. 3D content in Quick Look, a specific type of Reality Kit shader, was failing to load 3D content in Quick Look. That's fixed. What else? Apple cleaned up duplicate visionOS photos section in the docs, but the underlying issue is still open. Large panorama photos over 300 megabytes can still crash photos when switching between 2D and spatial view. Their developers, a batch of fixes for developers testing in-app purchases in Xcode and TestFlight, things like storefront metadata, returning wrong information, and transactions not finishing properly. Those were addressed and hopefully fixed. Eye tracking and eye setup issue, it was flagged in beta 5, still needs to be listed exactly as before. If you haven't read one eye and hand setup since updating past beta 4, that guidance still stands. Go ahead and redo your hand and eye setup. Just some things to keep the trains running in terms of the release. There's nothing too exciting about it. Storyline is basically, I think we're gonna see weekly betas in some cases to get it up to the final version, which will be released sometime in mid-September. But again, I haven't loaded it yet. Eric just loaded it, but I think it was right before show he said it finally finished. So he hasn't had a chance to play with it. And Daniel, have you loaded it?
Yeah, I've had it on today. It's been fine so far. Yeah. I can't I'm still, I have the M2 one. So it's, I don't know if it's beta related or not, or I'm just, I don't know. I felt like maybe it might have been a little laggy for me today, but hard to say if that is something new or not, especially since I've been away from using it for a little while while I've been gone. Nothing that's like show stopping, that's for sure. And I mean, beta software is beta software, right? Like that's I did say some people though were very pleased at this ability to potentially play multiple audio streams, which I can understand the desire. I don't understand, but I'm not like that about it. But yeah, apparently some people found that they could do multiple audio streams, but only if like one of them was like full screen and then you could have something else on the side instead of like, which is not as ideal because I think people would want like, a non like full screen Apple TV thing, and then maybe there's like a Twitch stream on the side, not full screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a use case for it, and as you said, that was one of the reasons. I just couldn't figure out why that was a issue.
Or actually, it might have been a bug, as we're seeing in chat. And yeah, I saw that too. And it is kind of funny because a lot of people want that feature. Like, I see that complaint a lot. I don't. I mean, I understand the desire, but also I'm like, yeah, it's fine on the phone, it's fine on the iPad.
Yeah.
Vision Pro is a little different for sure, and I would love for them to bring it, but at the same time, like, even if they do, I don't see myself using it really. But
yeah, there's an article that I found that'll be in there, that 9 to 5 Mac, and I've been off watching Christopher Nolan, so I haven't had a chance to check on this. Beta 6 releases for iPadOS 27, tvOS 27, and more. Is that iPhone also? I don't see iPhone listed here. Oh, iOS 27, but yeah. It doesn't say, it says that today's Apple developer released Beta 6 for its full lineup of platforms and are rolling out now alongside iOS 27 and macOS Golden Gate. I have to look at that. So, yeah. Anyway, so we have that news report. Of course, the other piece that is still in the news because it's getting closer is the countdown to live MLB in Apple Immersive. I guess first game is August 28th, and that's the Red Sox and the Yankees. And then you have games September 4th with the Angels and the Padres, or Angels and the Pirates, the Padres and the Giants September 11th, and the Giants and the Dodgers September 18th. I think I would bet we'll see articles next week, even, next week this time. They'll still be publishing promo articles out about it. And then what we'll see the following week is review articles on how it actually worked, if it worked with that, and what the people saw were the problems with it. So, yeah, and, we have an article in here from iLounge. You can watch the MLB games with your VisionPro headset in 3D, and some of the discussion that you've seen and that we've had over the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, let's see.
Another day I wish I was a sports fan, because there's a ton of good content out there that I don't want to enjoy.
Well, will you, I guess, my question though is, will you, out of curiosity, check this out?
Do I have to pay?
No.
Oh, then sure, why not?
It's like, have you checked out the races?
Like Formula One, or like some
Formula
of the
One, yeah.
immersive? No. But I'm even though I like sports cars and like sports car driving, I don't like watching it at all. Like, the only times I ever watch it is if like a friend of mine or something is in it, then I'll watch it. But otherwise,
a friend of yours is in Formula One?
No, not Formula One, but a friend of mine does. I forget what. There's a whole bunch of different like amateur series is out there. It's like he has a couple spec Miata cars that he races, and sometimes they're live streamed online. So I'll watch those. But like otherwise, like.
Well, it's at least worth watching once live, because you get the multiple displays and the overview and multiple screens.
Or like all the virtual stats and different angles all at once. Like, I really think that's really cool for people who like watching sports.
Yeah. Here's a article that is about Apple Vision Pro's high cost hinders mainstream AR adoption. And same sort of comments and concerns about it. Smart glasses, mixed reality devices are rapidly advancing. Innovations like SnapSpecs 6 DOF and Apple Vision Pro's high-resolution displays, and AI integration such as Meta Ray-Ban's voice assistants and Apple's Siri enhanced functionality. High cost, bulky design, and lack of unified app ecosystem are key barriers to mainstream adoption. Through subscription models, those subscription models and ergonomic improvements are emerging solutions. So,
Nilay Patel on the Verge podcast, he has a funny like matricy with respect to wearable tech, where it's like one axis is utility and the other axis is fiddliness. And so, like, if you're low utility, high fiddly, not very useful, understandably so, but, or if you're high utility, low fiddly, they're more acceptable. And I mean, I think it's fair to say Vision Pro kind of is in the mildly low utility, medium to high fiddly. Well, it depends who you ask. Depends who you ask. Because, and I mean, that's from me saying somebody who uses it hours a day. But I mean, I'm thinking more broadly in terms of just normal people, especially like if you were to say, like, when you're looking at the humongous price tag, relatively speaking.
Yeah, but okay, we're not gonna start this, I guess. But my comments will simply be: you can do productivity. There are actual productivity apps that you can do on the spatial computer that's on your head. Versus Meta, it's a game machine. It's a VR game machine. That's what it is. Yeah. So when you talk about utility, I think you can also play games on Vision Pro. You know that. So that's 2 points of utility over the 1 point that Meta has. And don't even get me into Ray-Bans. The Meta Ray-Bans they don't have productivity. They don't have gaming. They basically are a voice assistant and a camera if you want to take pictures from your headset. Since my head always tilts to the side, all of my Meta pictures turn out like I'm ready to fall off the landscape.
Right. You become painfully aware how much you have your head or tilted using this stuff.
So, yeah.
Well, there's one other spot that all these articles seem to miss, and that is if you're producing content, it's either easier to do the content, proof it, test it, and get it all ready with a Vision Pro, and then you repackage it and ship it for everything else.
Yeah, and that goes against the logic. One of the apps that we won't talk about tonight, because I think I want to give everybody a chance to take a look at it, is essentially an iPad app that a friend of ours put together. And I don't think I think it's one of those, it was developed outside of Vision Pro. And then I wouldn't even say it's ported into Vision Pro. It's an iPad app. So the assumption is it will run on Vision Pro. I haven't even, outside of the test drive, I haven't even seen if I can get that app without the test drive into my Vision Pro, because it's not designated as a Vision Pro app. So, but we should take a look at that and talk about that next week, or time when we have time to look at it. I might have thrown the link in, but I'm not sure. If we get to it, we'll pass over. Here's something I didn't quite understand, but you guys are smarter than I am. It comes directly off an X post. Spatial Insider Justin Ryan follows up on last week's web environment walkthrough with more real-world examples of custom Safari environments. And this is what I'm showing is not what we're talking about there. This happens to be Vision Pro with the Beta 5. One of the things that came out of Beta 5 was the fact that if you had a M5 Apple Vision Pro, you can adjust how Siri sounds. And I'm still trying to look at that difference in the price tag. There isn't a difference in the price tag. It's the same price tag, but the motivation, the reasons to move from an M2 to an M5 hasn't really been a holdout for staying with an M2. There's nothing that goes, boy, I wish I had that M5 because I could do this. But this is an indication. This is a link that shows how you can adjust how fast Siri speaks and choose new expressive voices options on the M5 version of the Apple Vision Pro running at least Beta 5. Any thoughts on? Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Same thing with same limitation with the new Siri on the older hardware too. I think only the most recent, is it even only most recent one model back devices can even have customizable new Siri like that. I think it's rather limited products. I mean, I certainly don't have it on my M2, but also I tend to still forget that Siri even exists in general across all my devices. It's going to take a long time, honestly, for no matter how good Siri gets. I think for a lot of us, it's going to take a long time to just remember it's there. and that I can maybe do more than basic timers and stuff. That's probably the biggest challenge to getting new Siri adopted, really, is just remembering that it's a thing and it's actually maybe useful. I don't know.
Another article here. Has anyone used an Apple Vision Pro with Adobe Premiere Pro?
No.
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 No, not if I'm running it on a desktop. I love the person's comment in the sense of, I want to edit in comfortable environments. I hate sitting in traditional chairs. I want to edit on the couch, in a bed, and ultimately work looking up rather than leaning down. No way having that strapped to your face will be more comfortable in the long term than a good chair and a desk with good ergonomics, was the first comment on it. So I have Premiere Pro. I have an Apple Vision Pro. Have never thought that I would want to do any video editing on the device. So,
although I've kind of enjoyed Final Cut Pro with the virtual desktop. I don't do tons of video editing, but it's nice to be able to see each individual frame.
Hey, here's the next way to spend your money. Forget Apple Vision Pro. Snap's new Specs AR glasses are now available for pre-order with the benefit of a refundable deposit. They're coming in at $2,200 with a $200 refundable deposit required to hold your place in line. Daniel, you had some interest in these at one time.
I mean, I'm not going to get them. Views or anything come out. On paper, to me, it seems like all of the augmented reality stuff of a Vision Pro put in glasses. Narrower field of view, I imagine. But if my read of it is accurate, very cool. In many ways, maybe we're seeing a vision glasses here in some respects. A little better looking, especially in the lensing department, because if I recall right, you would see pictures of Evan Spiegel wearing them, and it's like, aside from, all these smart glasses look pretty bad for the most part, but the lenses and what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, just something about the lenses just made it think look good in a way, like somehow worse to me than having virtual eyes on the Vision Pro. Like, I think I'd rather have the virtual eyes, no matter how bad people don't like those.
Yeah.
I hope it's actually what I'm saying, because that's really cool. I mean, there's a world where I'd love to get these, but not at that price point. But I don't think anyone, even if Apple is not going to have anything at any lower price point. But of course, I'm sure we're willing to pay that price for the Apple version.
I just cannot get it. I first of all, I can't see putting money down on this, even if it's refundable, because I don't know what it looks like looking through the glasses. There's nothing in here that tells me that, shows me that, gives me a mock-up video. So it's a blind sale. Glasses, blind sale. Yeah.
Yeah. And they kind of look like the ones you would wear if you were blind too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would only say, to be fair, for me, at least with the Vision Pro, I mean, yes, they came out with material, but I also just kind of bought it. I'm just like, I don't care. My criteria for success was, is it good screen on face? Yes. Okay, good, success. I mean, they do have a little bit of a higher. They have to prove themselves a lot more than an Apple would or a Samsung would. They just straight up have to, regardless of what product category they'd be going into.
Yeah, but I also knew when I got Apple that I was going to get apps on it. That I was going to get Messenger. I was going to get things like that. And so I knew what was ahead of me. looking at this, even though, whatever you get in terms of the specs and the lenses, they're still essentially transparent lenses that have no light shield. So what are they going to put on there that's going to be more appealing than having a closed system? Frankly, it's not attractive. You don't want to necessarily walk down the street with the googly eyes unless you are Eric. But I don't get how this is how it's going to successfully do any projection of images, video, what. And if I'm watching video while I have glasses on, it's not a mobile device typically. I'm not gonna drive and watch a movie.
Why not?
I'm not gonna do that with a Vision Pro. So I just don't get particularly at this price tag. If it was like $700, $800, it was more like the Meta Ray-Bans, then yeah, maybe. Still wind up looking kind of goofy with really thick side.
Yeah, I think that's maybe where how how I use it maybe differs from you, because to me, I would use those when I'm out in public and I want to. I mean, I use my Vision Pro in public.
Wait, you didn't finish that part of the sentence. When I want to do what?
Well, what I usually do is mostly big virtual display for the most part. And if it can do that, kind of like I'm saying, if it can do that part, like that kind of stuff, right? I mean, heck, it even has wired display port in. That's pretty cool. I wish Vision Pro had that. But if it can do that pretty well, it's like, I wouldn't mind that for a alternative to something less obtrusive when I'm out in public and I want big virtual display for a while. And I think it'd be a little more, I'm very mindful about using it in public too. Because I don't want to be say if I'm in a waiting room, right? More recently taking a friend for surgery, so I'm waiting. So I'm very mindful of wherever I go and set up, I'm not going to be in a lot of people's line of sight or whatever, so they don't think I'm just recording them all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because and you just see me looking around and they think I'm looking at you and glancing around. I bet that's awkward. And I mean, it's awkward for me too, frankly. And so that kind of scenario, I'd love to pull those out and use that if it's equivalent, right? Not full immersion, just the AR. If it's
you're going to have
a
limited, you got a 51 degree field of view.
That is pretty small. Yeah, so that's what I mean.
There's no head turning to look at the panoramic view that
I'm looking at
you're looking at a little postage stamp that is really, has real high resolution.
Yeah. So I agree. In that case, it probably would not be suitable for me. But if we were to, I don't know, kind of blow it out a little further, if they could get that bigger field of view, I guess I'm looking at it as a glimpse into maybe an Apple version of it. And it's oh, wow, they're pretty close, it seems. I don't think you can get as big of a field of view in any kind of glasses form factor, honestly. That might be pretty hard.
Yeah, because we haven't had glasses with any. Well, I'm not saying Apple glasses are going to have that. It's going to be any better. I have questions. Eric, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, trying to figure out where to use them. That's still a problem. If they do glasses and there are absolutely no cameras, I think there are more options.
As long as people know that. And I tell you, the last thing I want is a external port for a display, because when I think of portable items, I do not want to be tethered to anything.
Well, you say that, but there's a lot of people. Well, you'll say that, but then we have the battery. So it's But people, I have a lot of friends, one of my friends, he digital nomads around in an RV. And he'd love those to just hook in his Nintendo Switch and play. It's oh, okay, great use case to have a wired connection possible. Possible.
Oh, wait a minute. You're going to put your little postage stamp screen on your glasses when you can just look down at the nice, can't figure out how big it is. I've got one here. Nice big size display. Instead, I want it on my eyeballs.
But if you could pop that into your Vision Pro Would you?
It wouldn't make any difference. I can take my glasses off and I can look down and play at it, and I don't need to pop it into anything. I don't need a tether to my head to do it with.
You know, you're just going to be going back to duct taping a phone to your face.
That's right.
I mean, Google Cardboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Boy, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Dave is in the chat room. Hi, Dave. I'm sorry you can't be with us tonight. Let's see what else we have here. The virtual projector. Did you guys see this in the notes?
I thought it was
Yes.
fun.
Yeah, it looked kind of wild.
It's not really a product yet. It's more of a, hey, this could be cool. Does anybody want it?
Yeah, it's like, hey, I can put a virtual projector in the world and then put it on an actual screen and then move it around and aim it around. And it's like, well,
I kind of liked it because it doesn't have to aim at a flat screen either. You know, you can aim it at a room with, you know, columns and whatever, and it will project right on whatever's in front of it. That has some appeal.
Okay. This article, is this getting what you were talking about, Daniel, that visionOS 27 beta now allows multiple videos and audio sources all at once?
Yeah, but apparently it's a bug, so I wouldn't rely on this making it to final release at all. I know a lot of people want it, though, for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have some, like MLB app allows for multi-view. So I guess if you want to watch 2 baseball games, that's not an issue. But if you want to watch, you know, 1 baseball game and 1 soccer game or some live stream symphony, then this becomes a feature and not a bug.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
Be interesting to see what they do with it, if they do anything.
You know, or somebody, or you know, maybe somebody has a Twitch stream up and they are playing a game or something at the same time, and they don't want the Twitch stream to pause. Lots of people do that. That makes sense.
I think we talked about this one last week, Eric. This is the idea that you can, this is stage it, sharing 3D scenes. Is that, boy.
Yeah, that was actually kind of cool because
they could line up the eclipse, I think was what we were talking about last week. And this is the video that shows it. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about your toy, your $300 toy. This is a C-Mote Cube handheld spatial input device for Apple Vision Pro developer. I thought this was pretty cool when I saw it, and then I saw the price tag, and I'm like, nope, not for me. First of all, it looks like a magic cube, actually. Well,
yeah, but it's got buttons.
It's got buttons on it, and you can hold it and turn it, and you can program the buttons to do different things with it if you want to. But it's kind of being sold for developers for the purpose of, hey, would you like to put this object in your next app and develop for it, helping us.
Well, it's precise. It's precise positioning. So if you hold the cube out in front of you in space somewhere and click a button, then the software can put an object at that precise spot, and then you could move it. You know, you can kind of do something similar with the pen. Yeah, I'm sure there are other devices where you can do stuff like that. It was just kind of neat. It's like a game controller, really.
I was more interested in the robotics uses of it. I thought that was kind of interesting, an idea of being like, oh, if I had an arm that I wanted to program and I wanted to kind of do it in real space, I could, move it here, take a snapshot, plot its path out, or, something maybe a little more smooth, or even to let's say like that Stage It app, right? Like that idea of being able to like set up these virtual scenes to then visualize them. Like what if I wanted to put what if I wanted to place a prop on a real table? I could kind of literally just put the little cube there and push the button and then there it is.
Yeah.
So it's like a little more, brings a little more physicality to creating these virtual things, like the arm map or these virtual scenes. I think there's actually some interesting idea there. That's pretty cool. other than like robotics or something like that, I can't think of other use cases. Maybe like making games, like maybe see how, I don't know how far away certain things are, just how it feels relative to you to get an idea like how far it is, and I could record that relative position to get an idea how far.
Yeah, on the page it has a link to a Mars rover example video.
Yeah.
It's like the second video on the page, and then it shows holding the cube, and you get the rover, and you can kind of move the cube around, and it explodes the rover out and moves arms and does other actions. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think this is a device someone created that's in search of a purpose. I think it has some things that it can do, but I kind of think it's in search of a purpose right now. I saw the Mars rover thing. We'll have that connected, so you can see that. We've been at it for about 50 minutes or a little bit less than 50 minutes. Let's go ahead and move to some apps, or at least talk about them. And I realize that not everybody got a chance to get to these apps. So we'll go through them and talk about them as we can, or at least give you our impressions. This first one is Cueva de las Manos, which is Cave of the Hands. And this is an interesting little experience where it turns your space into actual cave that you can go through and explore. And for those of you who are watching the live stream video, you'll catch a little bit of this. Like, as this person is walking through their room, it's creating walls. And then it has some projections here with hands that you can put together and start to cause some things to enact on the cave walls. This is also the one where I think they walk through their house and it opens up a tour of, no, maybe it's not, opens up a tour of the caves, the actual caves that some of this is based on. Interesting, $3, VisionPro is the format.
It was actually pretty neat to, it even took me a minute to realize that it turned my real office space into the caves, because I had the wall of phones and my desk, and it all turned into a cave. That was pretty neat. And the game mechanic of using your hands as like the little physics object on the rock, that was definitely interesting and kind of different, and definitely lost I lost like a good hour to it, unbeknownst to me, just like playing it. Actually, I don't even know how far I am finishing it, but it was cool. I think it was really cool. It was a nice blend of doing your real environments with like a little bit of a educational component too. I guess a little bit. It was cool. I enjoyed my time with it. I need to finish it. Actually, I should finish it.
Okay, last app is Spatial Render, Stream VR to Apple Vision Pro. And it's a Mac app for $4.99. Eric, you want to talk a little bit about this, if you have anything on it?
So I wasn't able to fully use it because you need the new version of the OS.
Okay.
Because it's using a newer feature, or at least the version on the visionOS has to match the version on the Mac, and it was mismatched when I was trying it. It is kind of cool, though, because you can have content on your Mac, stream it to the Vision Pro. It's relatively fast. I'll have to come back at it, giving more time to play with it rather than just a couple seconds today. But yes, very useful. And this kind of thing is what will make it will be more useful to have content in a Vision Pro where you want to basically serve the content out to the Vision Pro, for a demo or for like a museum or a class or whatever it is, where you don't have to store it all on the Vision Pro. So this kind of thing, I think, is really useful. Maybe, with whatever glasses or whatever they come up with later, maybe we'll have something like this as well. Yeah, it was nice to see it.
Okay. All right. Hell of an evening.
I have a very tiny little breaking news, blurb.
Okay.
No, I saw, it looks like in Tahoe 26.7 release candidate, there is a reference to a model number that is suspected to be a second-gen Vision Pro. Hey, it's something. It's N109.
Huh. That could be cool.
And they managed to put it in Tahoe. And then I guess the question is it also going to be in Golden Gate? Is that been located there? But that's cool. This is in the release candidate of Tahoe, did you say?
Yeah, 26.7 release candidate.
Okay.
It mentions a lot of other new model numbers too.
Cool. I think they throw those in as Easter eggs.
Oh, probably, right. You get the free advertising.
To see who's watching, who's looking for that stuff. Because those generally make Mac Rumors, or they make some of those shows when they happen.
That might be where I'm seeing this.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and thank the folks in the chat room. Dave dropped in. We also had Oliver came in for a bit, and that was good to have them in as part of the show. So thank you for joining us in the chat room. That you can always get to on Monday nights at youtube.com/@VisionProfiles. Live Monday nights at 9 p.m. Let's find out where we can find Eric.
I'm going to be outside trying to throw packets down the line so I can stay connected. Otherwise, you can. It's just so bad right now. But 2 more weeks, and it'll fix it. I can be found on Mastodon at eabolden@mes.to. Sunday nights on the Neo Notebook, and Mondays, of course, here on Vision Profiles, Tuesdays on Mac Voices Live, and finishing out the week Thursdays on In Touch with iOS.
And Daniel.
You can find me here every other week or so. Otherwise, my only social is IO Expander on Blue Sky.
I'm going to keep it simple this time. You can catch me on Blue Sky or Mastodon with my last name at Jencius, JENCIUS. You can find me at those 2 locations. What else am I doing? Well, this show on Monday nights, Sunday nights with Neo Notebook, a bunch of other shows that I do, Tuesday nights with Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices, Thursday with Dave on his In Touch with iOS, and Friday mornings with the Tech Hangout. Other shows that I do, take a look at thepodtalk.net. That's the website that will connect you with the shows and connect you with me and other shows. So there's links to other shows that I'm on. So check out thepodtalk.net is the website for that. That's it for tonight's show. Dave, we miss you. We'll see you next time that you can join us, and we'll hopefully have some fresh news for you, some new stuff and new ideas about Vision Profile and Vision Pros, in the next show. So thanks for watching, and thanks to the chat room. We will catch you next time.